Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to the podcast. So we have another guest with us this week and we have Brianna. So hi Brianna.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. You
I'm good. I'm just living. I don't know.
No, I feel that. Do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do?
My name is Brianna. I'm 21. I live on Long Island, New York, and I'm a music artist. I make like dark pop music currently. So I have a few EPs out, a bunch of singles, and I'm in the process of working on my first album.
So fun. Sorry, did you say your age or no?
I'm 21, yeah.
21. Okay, okay, cool. And you were born and raised in New York?
Yeah, so I live on Long Island, so I'm about like an hour and a half out of the city, an hour on a good day.
Okay. Hmm.
But yeah, I live like 15 minutes from the beach, which is nice.
Nice.
I feel like a lot of the time when I say that I'm from New York, people like automatically assume I'm from the city. And so a lot of people don't realize that like New York is has other places. So
Right, a lot bigger.
yeah, like I went to like a networking thing in the city and it was with a lot of people that like weren't from the city but like they moved to New York. And they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" I was like, "I'm from Long Island." And they were like, "Where is that?" Like thinking that I was from like somewhere so far away. And I was like, "No, like it's not like in the middle of the ocean. Like it's just like right across the bridge." But
No, I
yeah.
love that. How did you kind of get into like dark like pop? Because I feel like it's like a lot of people do that type of music, but it's not like people's first choice. Or like I feel like a lot of people whenever they start like singing, they just go into like pop. So where did you like kind of find the inspiration for this like genre?
I honestly don't know. I feel like it just kind of happened. Like it felt super natural for me. Um, when I started making music, I knew I didn't want to make anything that like people were super familiar with. Like I wanted to have my own like identity. Um, so I feel like I've been making dark pop music for a really long time, like since I started, but there wasn't a name for it really, like until like recent years. And then like I remember the first time I saw the actual term was like Nessa Barrett. Like someone called her like dark pop, and I'm like, that's really cool. I was like, now I feel like I have a name for it because I was calling it like alternative pop, but I never
Mhm.
felt like that 100% was like true to the identity of what I was making. So now, yeah, I feel like I have a name for it. But I always liked the whole like, mysterious little like darker aesthetic, but I do like mainstream pop music. I grew up on mainstream pop music, so I like kind of being able to like blend those two worlds. I also like once I got into like high school, I really liked a lot of like pop punk and like even like a couple like not metal bands, but like heavier like rock music. So I feel like dark pop can kind of like combine those two worlds. So I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What kind of, because I see that like your aesthetic, like what you're wearing kind of matches the same vibe. So like what would you say came first, like your fashion sense or like the music kind of um came before that?
I feel like when I first started making music, I really was super experimental. I was just experimental with like everything about myself, really. Like, I didn't know what my style was, both like sonically and also like appearance wise.
Mhm.
Like, I was listening to a lot of like indie pop music when I first started. So, like, my first two songs are like one is like kind of like folky, and then the other one is like very classic, like indie pop type thing. And then I had like a ballad. And around that time, I was like very into like lighter colors and stuff like that. And then I feel like something like switched once I graduated high school because I started releasing music when I was in high school. Um, and I felt like, I don't know, it feels like so cliche, but it's like once you're like out of high school, you can like, you like blossom, like you just feel like your own person,
Yeah.
really like entering life for the first time. And I feel like that's when I started to really discover like who I am as a human being, and like that really translated into my music. So that was around when I started making my first EP. And I feel like from then on, that's where like I really found my niche, both like style wise and in my music. But I feel lucky that even like that early on into me making music, I figured out who I was because like three singles in was only like 5 months of me even releasing music. So like I feel like I was still early on like able to find my niche.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like when you're in high school, it's so like easy to just stay like super confined in like the four walls that you're like growing up in. So I think it is really cool that you were able to so early on like express yourself differently. Were you like scared, I guess, releasing music in high school of what like your peers would like think of you?
A little. People didn't really know who I was in high school. So like I was mostly homeschooled for like my last year of middle school and I'm gonna say my first 2 years of high school. So then I was a junior and I went to school like normal for like I'm gonna say like 6 months and then COVID happened and then we were homeschooled
Oh
again
yeah.
because of COVID. The first time was because I was having like medical problems. I have a chronic illness, so I was homeschooled because of that. I would go into school like a couple days a week, if I even could, like get out of bed for it. And then the rest of the time I was homeschooled, got better, went to school for like 6 months. COVID happened, and then we were online. And then I started releasing music towards like the end of that when we were like doing the whole like hybrid school schedule thing where it was like you would have like two groups and like you would go in on like we had like blue and gold days. Like you would go in on like a blue day or gold day or whatever it was called. Or A and B days. So like people didn't really know who I was because I never really went to school with any of them like that
Mhm.
much. I feel like people just kind of knew me as like the like weird girl who like barely ever showed up. Um, so I wasn't really too concerned with what people had to say because like I feel like they wouldn't even really know it was happening. But the people that did say stuff about it were like pretty nice. Like I had like maybe like one or two girls like stop me in the hallway and be like, "Oh my God, I love your song." And it was nice. But of course there's always people that are gonna like have something to say about it. Like, do you guys know Yik Yak?
No.
Is it like Kick or whatever that was? I don't know.
I guess I've never actually been on it, but it's like it's popular for like colleges apparently. Mind you, I went
Oh,
to
okay.
so like I don't know, real I didn't know like it existed. But one of my friends told me that someone was on Yik Yak. And again, I went to community college. One of my friends told me that someone on Yik Yak from like our high school, and it's anonymous, by the way, was like
Mhm.
that Brianna girl like only wants to be a singer because like she didn't go to school enough to be able to like get into college.
Oh.
That was like the meanest thing everyone ever said. But it was so funny to me because I'm like, that's like so untrue. Like I was just like chronically ill and like could barely go to school. So like and then I got into an art school and I couldn't afford it. So if you're watching this, that's why I went to community college, get out of my phase. Um but yeah,
But
so that's
also, sorry to interrupt, but like community college for some reason, like people give it such a bad rap, but it's like it's just another college where you're getting the same education, but it's literally cheaper. So I would go. I mean,
yeah, I didn't even like honestly though, I didn't even finish it. I like I said, I was chronically ill. So like most of the things that I like learned, I couldn't retain the information because I had like cognitive issues because of like the pain that I was in. Um, and so like I got to college and I'm like, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. Like I was so behind and I was also like I've always been a very like hands-on learner and like a very hands-on person. So I went for radio and television and I did like great with that. I was like vice president of like our broadcasting club and I got to like direct stuff and it was like so fun. But when it came to like the sitting down and like the books and everything like that and I just like for some reason it just like wouldn't click with me. And then I was like, I just really want to go for the music thing. So I got all my credits for radio and television, and then I dropped out and I started working full time in like production. So to like fund the music, because I was like, you know what, life is too short and I'm not having a good
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And at like such a young age, how did you kind of figure out how to make music and like release it? Did you work with like what is it called? Like did you work out of like a studio? Did you do it at home? How did that kind of work?
So I started working with Donnie Klang at the Loft Sound Studio in Syosset on Long Island. Yeah, I took voice lessons at the Loft for like a year probably before I started making music with Donnie. But it was nice to like start in a really professional environment because I had someone to lean on that like knew what to do and like had done this a million times before. So I would write the songs completely all by myself at home, like lyrics and melody wise, and then I would take it to him and I would describe like the kind of production that I wanted and he would be able to like handle that and we would collaborate on things that we wanted to change, things that we wanted to keep. Um, and so yeah, I feel like being able to work with someone that like knew what they were doing when I first started was a really nice, like easy transition into making music. It made it a lot less scary because I felt like I had, support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how would you say like your music style and the way that you work has changed since like your first song that you put out to now working on like an album?
Yeah, I feel like there's still that like kind of invisible string throughout everything. Um, where everything is connected, like there's still like some kind of like sonically everything kind of makes sense together. But I feel like the newer music that I'm making is getting like darker and like less poppier, you know? Like
Okay.
I feel
Hmm.
like I've been really loving like orchestral stuff, like putting strings and everything in. Um, so that's been something that we've been working with a lot that I haven't done in the past, really. I have like one song that I think has strings on it and it's Lie to You and it's at like the very ending. Um, but yeah, like now I'm doing like upbeat songs with strings in it. Like my single is coming out on Friday, Takes One to Know One, was like the first of many that we decided to really go like all in with like those like that orchestral sound. I don't know what else to say about it. But like we have like the like orchestra drums in it and everything like that. And it just I don't know. I feel like I'm really going for like a lot more layering, a lot more like synths and everything. The past like year or so, like I've been addicted to just like big, like beefy synth sounds and like layering as many things on top of each other as I can. I just want like this very like cinematic sound, I feel like is the best way to put it. Like I feel like the music that I'm making now is gonna be way more cinematic than anything else that I've made in the past, rather than just like, oh, it's like dark and it's moody and it's pop. Like
Mhm.
now it's kind of like more like cinematic pop, which
Yeah.
I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And the single that's coming out on Friday, this episode actually goes up that same day. So, what is the single about? Like, what's the message in it, or what kind of do you want someone to like walk away feeling after listening to it?
So it's called Takes One to Know One. Um, I feel like the message overall is very like, it's called Takes One to Know One. So like you can be in a situation where someone is accusing you of one thing or another, but they're guilty of the same thing. So
Mhm.
it's just like that back and forth of like, you know what, maybe like we're just not good for each other. Like maybe this is just toxic. Like maybe both of us are like, feeding into each other's poor tendencies. And so I feel like
Mhm.
that's really the message of it is like we're a lot more alike than we think that we are, but in like the worst way. Like this just it's not gonna work. We're bad for each other. So, but I loved the saying, and that's like what I started with. I rarely like start with just like this is the title that I want the song to be, and I'm gonna work around it. Um, but I feel like recently I've been doing that a lot. Like I'll just like have like certain like words or something or phrases that I really like. And I'll frame the story around that. So that's what I did for Takes One to Know One.
Honestly, I feel like I'm gonna have that on repeat because that like message is so common for so many people, especially when you're like in like a relationship or a situationship or whatever, and you don't even realize like that back and forth, and it
Mhm.
makes you go crazy. So I really, yeah, I'm excited to listen to it for
Me-
sure.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorites so far. I feel like this year is like really like a big turning point for me. Last year definitely was also, but I feel like I'm going even like deeper into that this year. Like I started this year with Out of Your League, which was very much so that like cinematic, like big, like beefy synth pop, and then Takes One to Know One has that like strings and orchestral thing that I was talking about. And now my next single is like kind of like 80s pop, like synth
Okay.
wave. So like I feel like everyone's gonna be able to see like the evolution of like all of these singles working into like hopefully at the end of next year sometime when an album comes out. It'll like all kind of make sense once it's all together, which is really exciting.
Hmm. And right now you're an independent artist, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So how is that kind of process? And like, I think we spoke about this on my other podcast, but would you want to stay as an independent artist because you do get a lot more like freedom in certain things, but then when you're signed, you do get more like, I guess, promo in a sense and like networking opportunities. So for yourself and like your kind of vision for your career, what would you want to like do in the long term?
Yeah, I don't even remember what my answer was
I don't
last.
remember either.
So, like, I don't know if I'm gonna contradict myself, but at this very moment in time, I feel like I look at it as I'm so happy and I feel so lucky that I haven't gotten signed yet because I feel like in the beginning of my career, I had no idea really what I was doing and like who I was. Like I was saying, my first three singles are like so different than what I started making after I graduated high school. Um, and so I feel like being independent allowed me to discover that for myself rather than having like some kind of A&R or like label executive tell me what I should be making. So it's like now if people see what I'm doing, they already know that like this is what they're getting from me. They don't see like someone that they can like sculpt and mold. So I like that aspect of being independent, that I was given the opportunity to do things at my own pace and make the music that I want and really like create my brand for myself and who I am. Um, but I feel like now, like I said, I'm at a point where I have everything figured out as far as like my sound and, like my band. They're all great people. I have a really good, tight-knit group of people that are super talented and know my music like the back of their hand. And I have a really good producer that I work with, and I just feel like I have things figured out for myself. So now it's just like if I were to get signed, which hopefully I do, I feel like that's something I feel ready for and I feel like confident with.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, hopefully maybe this year will be the year. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And how does that kind of work? Like, do they just like approach you? Do you have to like reach out to them? Like, how does the process of getting signed work?
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. I feel like the music industry, like even though I've been actively like participating in the music industry for the past 4 or 5 years now, I still feel like there's so many things that I don't know because like
Hmm.
the independent artist world is so different than like the signed artist with like a million people on their team world. So I honestly don't know. I I feel like so often like you just see like these like stories of just like oh they got discovered and like just like picked out of a field of just like
Mhm.
fun like and people just kind of blow up that way. Like I feel like that's like the stereotypical like that's how it happens story, but I genuinely don't know. I feel like that's just like what people think happens, so I don't care how it happens for me. Just want it to happen. Because yeah, I really feel like I'm at a good point in my career where that kind of support is gonna be like the final like missing piece, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Can we actually go back to talking about your chronic illness if you are okay with that?
Yeah.
Because,
Um,
sorry to interrupt again, I
yeah,
was actually just diagnosed with POTS, which is also chronic. So I feel like we have that in common.
yeah. First of all, so sorry to hear that you're dealing with that.
Thank you.
Um, so when I was 12, I woke up with like this insane migraine. Like it was the most insane pain that I've ever felt in my life. And literally from that day on, um, I was like suffering in pain, basically, to put it blankly. Actually, I woke up on, oh my gosh, May 16th. I was 12, so that was 9 years ago. So 9 years ago on May 16th. So we're coming up on the anniversary.
Hmm.
I woke up in like excruciating pain, and that's kind of been my life since. But I've gotten a lot better since then. I ended up having a chronic illness called occipital neuralgia. Um, and that's not something that like is a very common illness even now, like almost 10 years later. It's really not anything that I see talked about very often. It's a nerve condition of the occipital nerves, which are back here. Um, and so what we presume happened to me is I fell on my head when I was 11, but I didn't like, I was fine after, like I didn't think of anything after it, and basically it ended up compressing my spine and like giving me like all these different issues, but it slowly kept getting worse because I was neglecting it because I didn't think anything was wrong. Um,
Hmm.
and so that turned into occipital neuralgia. We couldn't figure out what was wrong with me for like 9 months. I was going into the city and like all across the island to see all different doctors. No one could figure out what was wrong with me. And then one day my mom was online looking up my symptoms and she found occipital neuralgia, everything aligned, and she called this doctor in Washington, D.C. and talked to him. And he was like, yeah, I think that's what she has. Um, I was going back and forth to Baltimore like every few weeks to get these injections into my head, and then the injections didn't work. So then I got neck surgery right at the base of my skull. And they had to like shave the underneath of my hair and like go into my neck and basically like untangle everything that was around my nerves. And then that helped for a little bit, didn't fully fix me. I ended up going to Texas every single month for 6 months to get cranial, sacral, and visceral treatment, and obviously got super expensive. And it was like I was almost there, like I was almost done with the treatment. But we couldn't keep going back down to Texas. And then eventually we actually found a cranial, sacral, and visceral specialist out on Long Island, like 30 minutes from me. And so I kept going to him. And then that's eventually what ended up helping me. I had these like kinks in my spinal tube and fluid wasn't going to my brain. It was like, it's honestly such a fever dream. Like, it feels so long ago now because I really started getting better around the time that I was like 15, 16. I'm gonna say probably closer to 16. Um, and so it was so long ago now that like, again, like I was saying, it kind of feels like a fever dream. And my pain is manageable at this point. Like I'd still go for like maintenance and stuff every now and then just to keep myself um feeling okay. But when you live with a chronic illness, you get very used to being in pain every day. So like what felt like world ending and like day destroying to me years ago, like now I'm able to manage that more. But again, I'm nowhere near in as much pain as I was back then, luckily. So now I just like live my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how
Well,
do
I'm
you
glad
like
that
help?
you're, sorry,
Oh.
that you're able to manage it a lot better. And it's actually funny, I tried craniosacral therapy, so I might have to keep going to the sessions because hearing you say that it helped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes so long. Like, don't give up on it. I remember getting so frustrated because I felt like it wasn't doing anything. But he
Hmm.
was like, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And I'm gonna say it took me like a few months, like maybe even longer, um, to start seeing the results. But once I did, it was like it just like it gave me my life back like fully. And that's part of the reason that I do what I do now is like for like 3 years of my life I couldn't do anything. I missed out on so much of like being like a kid and like a preteen. Um and I would just like daydream about like being able to like do exciting things because I couldn't actually do them. So like that my best bet was like to close my eyes and just like think because sometimes I was in so much pain. I couldn't look at my phone, I couldn't look at the TV, like the lights hurt sometimes. So it was just like daydreaming was like my escape and I would daydream about like being a famous singer. And so like I was saying, like once I like got into college and I was doing that and like it just didn't feel right. I was like, why am I wasting my life doing something that I don't want to do? I'm
Mhm.
young and like I can always go back. And again, life is short. I spent so much time being forced to do nothing and something that like made me so miserable. Why am I gonna now choose to do something that makes me miserable when I could, kind of just say like fuck it and like live my life. Life is so short. It's so scary that anything can happen at any time. Like I went to bed the night before feeling completely fine like 9 years ago, and my life has been different ever since. So that's part of the reason that I do this and that I'm really determined to make it happen and not give up on it, is because of that. Because, I want to live life as much as I can since I didn't get to for so long.
Yeah. And so going off that, I wanted to ask like music and like performing and stuff does take like a toll on your body. I mean, especially shows and stuff, like you're out there performing, dancing, like how do you kind of manage your chronic illness when you're like living such an active lifestyle at times?
It's definitely hard. Being on my feet is really difficult for me. I also have scoliosis and I have kyphosis, and so like my shoulders and my neck and my back are like constantly killing me. So anytime that I have like a long photo shoot or like, you know, um a show day or anything, I have to be like really conscious of making sure like I'm taking a break to sit down and like if I'm wearing big shoes, like I only put them on to like take pictures, take them off, put them on before I go on stage, take them off. I do a lot of stretching, um, take a lot of Aleve and Advil, which I probably shouldn't do, but um, I take a lot of Aleve and Advil. I have like any chronically ill person knows like your heating pad is with you at all times. Like your heating pad is your best friend. Always have a heating pad on my neck, my back. Um, I get a lot of acupuncture, massage, and then like I was saying, I still every once in a while still go back for maintenance treatments for cranial, sacral, and visceral. Um, but yeah, it's all about knowing your limits too.
Yeah.
Like I know like the day before a show, like I have to kind of like take it easy if I can, but I'm also a very like go, go, go person and I push through everything. Like I had like mono last year for a show, and I was like, I'm not canceling the show. Like, I'm playing. Like, I could barely talk, and I was like, I'm playing the show. So, yeah, I think that it's about knowing your limits, but also like I'm in an industry where like I realize that I can't just like skip out on things and stuff like that. Like I'm responsible. Like I have a duty that I need to, uphold. So, sometimes you have to push through it and it's not fun and it sucks and you really need to take care of yourself after, but I don't know, it's really day by day. Every day
Hmm.
is different.
Yeah. And going off that as well, like your music videos, specifically, I think it was the Overkill one. I feel like the set design and everything was super like well thought out and like just really matched the vibe. So how do you go about planning like the music videos? Like, are you the director behind it? Do you have someone directing you? What's that like?
So for that project in particular, that music video is actually shot in my childhood guitar teacher's house.
Okay.
As I knew I wanted like a super like vintage, like kind of like spooky house. And he had one. So I was like, hey. can we shoot a music video for like 8 hours in your house? And he was super cool about it. He was great. Shout out to Wally. Um, and yeah, so for that in particular, it was like we really showed up and like everything was there. Like
Like it
the
looked like that already.
yeah, it
That's
was the
cool.
only things that we really added were like the table settings, um, and the coffin. I made the coffin myself with like two Lowe's cardboard boxes, a lot of tape, spray paint, hot glue, Dollar Tree flowers. Like it was very makeshift, but it worked and it looked good on camera. And then all of the props and everything, like the phone that's right here, I'm pretty sure we used in the video. I could be wrong. And we might have used Wally's rotary phone, but it was like either stuff that I already had or stuff that I thrifted, like all the
Hmm.
dinnerware and like the tablecloth and everything was all thrifted. All of the candles were from like Dollar Tree. Like it was very low budget and very makeshift, but like it turned out great. And I think that's a big part about like being an artist is when you don't have a budget, like your creativity can still drive you. You don't need
Yeah.
like this crazy blow up budget to make something that you're proud of and something that looks good. Um, it's all about like using what you have and your resources and everything like that and what works for you. You can still make something great out of, like $100. Like my
Hmm.
first music video
Yeah.
they shot in like my dad's old car with like the vlogging camera that I bought when I was like 16. And like we made a music video and put a bunch of cool filters on it. And like I think we used the star projector that I still have in my house. I don't know how it's still kicking, but we used like the star projector to like make like cool lighting on like a blank wall. So yeah, as far as like creative though, I definitely feel like I spearhead a lot of that stuff, but I also know like where my faults are. Like I'm shooting a music video on Sunday and I wanted a dance number and I'm like I'm no dancer. I'm no choreographer. So like I brought in a choreographer for that and
Hmm.
like she's great. Her name is Rachel. I love her to death. She was like PAing and kind of creative directing on Overkill too, actually. She was there and just like helping us out and like if we ran out of ideas, like she was really good to jump in with stuff. So she choreographed this next music video, but she's also one of those people where she's like so understanding and so open to like what the artist wants. I feel like sometimes like people really get in their own head of like this is what we're gonna do. And she's not like that. She's such a good collaborator and she's so open to all of my ideas. And if I want to change something, like, she's so down for that. And so I feel like I spearhead a lot of things, but I also know like where I need help and stuff like that. And I have just like a really good group of people around me that, you know, are able to come in and like fill in those holes.
That's so exciting. I'm so happy for you, especially since like you're so young and I don't know, it's like nice and refreshing to see someone, especially when you have been suffering with a chronic illness, just like live the life that you've always wanted to. So I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. I try. Like I've always felt like very behind because
Hmm.
like I was saying, since I was 12, I was, behind in going to school and like experiencing the same things that my friends did. And then I ended up not continuing college because I wanted to pursue this. And so it's good to like, remind yourself that these are still accomplishments and you're still working towards something. Um, and I'm like really happy with where I am and I wouldn't change any of it.
Hmm.
So thank you for the encouragement.
Of course. Also, your tone is so different, but so nice. Like I love people that have your tone. Like, ugh, I just love it. So I really am excited to listen to the song that's coming out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I know at the end, well, unless Amanda, do you have any more questions?
I guess my only question before we end it off is what's like coming up for you other than the album? Like, do you have any shows coming up? Are you working on things? What can you share?
I would really like to book some more shows in New York, but I'd also love to open for someone on tour. I feel like that's my
Mhm.
main goal for this
Yeah.
year. So definitely like reaching out to a lot of people about that. So maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, just in the studio a ton, doing a lot of like content shoots. I have the music video shoot coming up on Sunday for the next single, which is super exciting. So I'm just hoping to keep cranking out music, really.
Yeah, I love that.
Super cool. And where can people find you?
People can find me on mainly TikTok and Instagram. They're both just at Bree-On-Uh, so Breeonuh. And then all of my music is under Bree-On-Uh, Bree dash on dash UH on Spotify, Apple Music, really anywhere that you want to listen. So yeah.
I love that. Also, at the end of every episode, since our podcast is called That's So Us, we like to ask people, like, what is something that if, I don't know, some random person, or not some random person, I guess someone who knows you, like, would just think, oh, that's so Brianna.
Oh my God, I don't know. I feel like I get like clowned a lot by other people for like only wearing the color black. So I feel like if someone was wearing like only the color black, it would be like that's so Brianna. Because
Yeah.
I'm literally like my closet doors are open right now and I'm looking into my closet and I'm like, oh my God, like that's like I get it.
No,
I
honestly,
like
like
more
knowing
color
you for the
variety.
past few years, I would say that, or like anything kind of like not okay, it's gonna sound weird, but like like vintage creepy, like that, like aesthetic,
Yeah.
like
Oh my
dark
God.
vintage vibes, like yeah, like that type of
Yeah.
stuff. Like that's what I meant by like
He's like so
vintage creepy.
namaste, but he's
Yeah,
So,
like even like on your Instagram and stuff, like just that aesthetic, it's always like dark and mysterious, kind of like what you're going for.
yeah.
Any like if I walked into like a thrift shop and I saw something that was just like, I don't know, like a skull with knives or something, like I would just think about you, like type of thing.
thanks. What I go for. I have like this little like trinket wall like behind you guys. And it has like basically like a bunch of stuff like that. Like I'll go to thrift stores and I'll just find like these weird little trinkets that are like kind of a little creepy, but they're also like
Mhm.
cute and like dainty. And I just like collect them. It's like kind of a problem. I have too many, but
I love that.
so that is very me.
Okay.
I would
Well,
Love
that's
it.
all we had for you today. So thank you so much again for coming on and sharing your story and everything. We'll leave all your links in the show notes. And yeah,
thank you guys for having me. This was so
of
fun.
course.